Ahoy folks, and welcome back to Broadside Gaming with me, Zug. So we are doing Hive Scum builds because they've changed everything. So we kind of have to redo the builds. This is the second time I'm doing this because I forgot to do the goddamn StimLab again. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it in StimLab first. So I actually remember to do it this time. So this is for the the enhanced Desperado build. That's it. And for that, this is how we are setting it up. We are going one into Barrage, one into Spur, and then all the way along here on Wildfire into Fury 1 and 2. It's going to give us weapon strength, and it's going to give us rending, as well as a little bit of toughness and some attack speed and weapon swap speed. It's mostly the weapon swap speed we want from that. But yeah, so there you go. I've remembered the StimLab. Hooray. So now we've got that out of the way, let's look at what we're actually using. So we are going to be using Shivs as our melee weapon. The modifiers are as such: damage, first target, finesse and penetration, lol, and mobility is our dump. Perk-wise, we're going with 5% melee critical hit chance and 25% damage to carapace armored enemies. You can change the crit chance to stamina if you really want to. It works well with this build. Blessings wise, we're going with Uncanny Strikes for the rending and Precognition for the finesse damage. Then we have our main weapon, which is the dual stub pistols. Modifiers are damage, critical bonus, mobility, and penetration. Lol. And our dump is collateral. I know I usually dump out mobility. It's just collateral is actually arguably worse on the dual stub pistols than mobility. Sprint speed and dodge distance. And then stagger. The dual stub pistols basically have no stagger anyway. That's just not what the weapon's for. The weapon is for being incredibly accurate and doing a lot of damage. We do not give two craps about stagger. We don't want them staggered, we want them dead. So as you can see, don't give a crap about the stagger. We want to be able to kill them incredibly quickly. So yeah, that's why we're dumping out collateral. I don't need to do that. I can press I because they've finally joined the future. As for the curios, we've got a triplet setup here of plus 17% toughness with toughness, stamina generation, and damage resistance gunners. But if you really want to, you can dump out the 12% stamina regen for 5% health. And that is going to give you more passive defense instead of active defense. The stamina regen is going to give you active defense, which is, going to allow you to use your stamina to dodge, block, all that sort of thing. But the health is going to give you passive defense, which is just 15% more health. So there you go. I would highly suggest sticking with damage resistance gunners. Sorry, the cat is doing something. Because especially the new game mode is just full of gunners. It's just millions and millions of gunners and loads of reapers. So gunner resist is quite useful for that. So the talents. We'll start up here. We've got Voice of Tertium, replenish 8% toughness on ranged kill. Elites and special instead replenish 15. Precision Violence, melee hits replenish 4% toughness, melee critical hits and weak spot hits replenish 8, and critical weak spot hits replenish 12. Sticky Hands, 40% weapon swap speed, additionally gain minus 10% recoil, 30% spread while firing from the hip or bracing. This is making the dual auto pistols dual stub pistols, sorry, very good. Float like a butterfly, perfect blocks and successful dodges grant 20% critical strike chance for 3 seconds. We don't care about the perfect blocks, it is the successful dodges that we care about. Because this is going to give us basically 90% uptime on plus 20% crit. Burst of energy, gain stun immunity for 6 seconds and restore 50% toughness when it's broken. Calling for a timeout. Minus 25% damage taken while reloading and for 4 seconds afterwards. In your face, plus 25% range damage against targets within 12.5 meters and scaling down to a minimum of 10% at 30 meters. Into speed reloader for reload speed on close range kill. And then we're taking the Boombringer. Now, you can take whichever one you want. It's just they're all situational, but the Boombringer is quite amusing. I have tried to tell people this before, but I got ignored. When you are firing this, I highly suggest not just aiming it at one thing, because the damage is actually in a big AoE around it. It isn't just from point of impact. So if I wanted to try and hit both of these Ogrins, and I just aimed it at the Reaper, obviously only the Reaper's going to get hurt. If I wanted to try and hurt both of them, you could aim it into the middle, and you can kill both of them. So it isn't so much the point of impact that is doing the damage, is actually the AoE burst around it. Which means it is better to aim for the middle of a pack, even if that is aiming at the floor, instead of aiming for one target, to try and, you know, get as many kills as you can with one rocket. So there you go. So that is the Boombringer. The other two, they're grenades. So, you know, they work like grenades. Then we've got Tis But a Scratch. Replenish 30% toughness over 3 seconds after taking range toughness damage. Losing your toughness cancels the effect. Into Nimble. Dodge speed is increased by 25%, and time considered dodging is increased by 0.15 seconds. Into Jittery. Dodge recovery speed while stamina is above 75%. Sample Collector. Kills replenish 1% of your cartel special. Cooldown killing toxin infected enemies instead replenishes 2. Into Gunslinger. Now this is going to be a very important one, especially for the new game mode, because ammo is non-existent. When an ammo pickup is collected by you and your allies in coherency, you each replenish ammo equal to 10% of that ammo pickup. And that goes for everyone. As long as they're in coherency, obviously. If they've run off on their own, well, that's their problem. Long lasting for 5 seconds to stims. And then we've got Enhanced Desperado. Swap to and reload your ranged weapons. Entering Enhanced Desperado for 10 seconds for the duration you count as dodging against ranged attacks. Sprinting costs no stamina, and you gain 20% sprint speed. While the ability is active, reloading your weapons does not reduce your ammo reserve. This is a major, especially the new one. Additionally, enemies with within close range, become highlighted. Killing highlighted enemies with your ranged weapon extends the duration by 1 second. After 20 seconds, the extending becomes diminished. The base cooldown is 45 seconds. Then we've got the tertiary abilities. We've got Focused Resolve. Killing highlighted enemies restores 0.5 ability cooldown. Elites and special kills instead restore 1 second, 5 second max cooldown restored. Pick your targets, gain 15% rending for your ranged attacks while Enhanced Desperado is active. Additionally, killing highlighted enemies also grants 3% range damage, stacking 5 times. So, pop it, shoot things. We'll go to the middle first, melee damage, and then we're grabbing punching above one's weight for 15% damage against elites and monstrosities. This is both ranged and melee. Hive City Brawler, up to 20% damage reduction depending on available stamina. Additionally, up to 20% melee damage depending on spent stamina. And then Street Tough, when taking melee damage, knock all nearby enemies around you backwards and gain 10% movement speed for 3 seconds. Can only trigger once every 8 seconds. And now we've got our Keystone Tree. We're going with Crit because we have to. Swift Endurance, 2% increased melee attack speed for each current stamina. Unload, reloading your ranged weapon grants 2% range damage for 7 seconds. Each 10% of magazine spent during the duration grants 2% additional ranged damage. The sweet spot for 25% weak spot damage. Into Pickpocket, killing an elite or specialist enemy with a melee attack while ammo reserve is below 20%, or refill it back up to 20%. Again, this is really good, especially in the new game mode, because there is no ammo. Well, apart from in the in-between zones. Vulture's Mark, killing a special or elite enemy with a ranged weapon, grants you a stack of Vulture's Mark for 8 seconds, stacking 3 times. Each stack grants 5% range damage, plus 5% range critical strike chance, and 5% movement speed. While at max stacks, special elite range kills restore 15% toughness to you and your allies in coherency. And then the best talent, Vulture's Dodge, range critical hits make you count as dodging against all attacks for 1 second, which is also why we put so much crit on the gear. Now, this is one way of running it. You can go with the stub pistols. They're very good. They're especially good in Havoc or incredibly high runs because they're accurate, they do a lot of damage. Very easy to get headshot strikes with them. But if you are not running the highest difficulty or you just want a bit of a change, you can take the dual auto pistols set up like this. Blaze away, speed loader, mobility is the dump. They aren't quite as good as the dual auto pistols, the dual stub pistols, whatever the hell they are. But they are hilariously fun to use. As I said, they're not quite as good, but like I've said in many videos, I'm not your mum. I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't do, and I'm not going to put little notes in your lunchbox. If you want to use a different weapon, go for it. Try it out. See how it works for you. Now, these guns are fun. They're a bit of a bullet hose because obviously, you know, it's spray and pray. But they're very cool to run around with and use. And they are quite effective, just not as effective as the others. And the crit rate's pretty good on them. Just gonna keep shooting things, it's fun. Anyway, you can, as I said, use different weapons. I just prefer the dual stub pistols for it because they're just incredibly accurate. And they're about twice the damage on each shot. But obviously, you are firing faster, so each shot is faster, so you're doing however that works out. I'm not a mathematician. I just make stupid guides. But there you go, folks. That is the Enhanced Desperado build updated. There are going to be more builds. We have 4 more that have been updated. They are going to be melee builds, jumping between the Chem Box, whatever it is, and the Go Crazy Rampage. So keep an eye out for those. They will be up fairly soon. They basically will be released between now and Friday. So just keep an eye out. If you are looking for an updated melee build, they are coming. If you've enjoyed the video, please do like and subscribe. It really does help us out. If you've enjoyed the build as well, like and subscribe. Always does help. Consider membership to help out the channel. Other than that, take it easy, and I'll see you later for the next one. So until then, yo-ha.